Dagny from Bags and Lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching this video. Welcome or welcome back. Either way, I am so happy that you clicked play. If you are new, quick spill on my channel, I talk about handbags, usually with a pre-owned twist to it, but not always. And then my lifestyle part of my channel just covers anything else that does not have anything to do with a handbag. So that could be artwork, furniture, whatever I'm interested in. I want to talk about, it falls under that lifestyle category. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to check out a few more videos. I have 2 playlists linked below, and then consider subscribing. That way you'll get a notification every time I upload a video. And my schedule, I am doing 2 videos a week. April is the first month that I started this, and it's going to be at 8 a.m. on Wednesdays as well as 8 a.m. on Saturdays. So I would love to see you join the group and come on back, and also comment down below. I love talking to you and answering your questions. So let's get started with today's topic, which I thought was a very interesting one because I am so much into secondhand, vintage, accessories more so than anything else, that I thought this would be a neat topic to talk about. So with the pretty much resale has been around for a long time. However, it has skyrocketed in the past maybe like 10 years, where you have more sites like Poshmark and eBay, and eBay's been around for a lot longer than 10 years, but pretty much like those third-party sites that allow everyday people like you and I to sell from their homes rather than going to a consignment store to sell our items. It's made it more accessible, and as well as the fee structure kind of changes depending on how you decide to get rid of your own personal items. So that has also caused some issues. And I don't think the resale market caused these issues. They were already there. People making fake bags and things like that. But it does make it more accessible for you to find a fake item. I make mention of that because, I mean, you can go into your local consignment store and buy an item that's not real. There are other really large online sellers out there that have been blamed for selling fake items. What I'm pretty much getting at there is it does make it a little bit more accessible and easier for someone to sell an item that's not real, because you have this explosion of third-party markets where I don't have to leave my home. I can take my photos, upload my item, and sell it to you. I either knowingly know that it's not real, or I have no clue that I bought it and then I'm now reselling it to someone else, and I'm then transferring this fake item from me to you. The topic that I'm going to talk about now, which you can see from the title, which is going to be covering brands that have decided to enter the resale market. So there are a few brands, and if you know of any, definitely throw those in the comments down below, because I tried to do a quick search of the ones that I was aware of, but I'm sure there are other ones out there that I may not know about. So a few brands that I wanted to talk about today that, like I said, sell their own items, and I want to give my quick thoughts about that, which is the reason why I talked about the fake stuff initially. So I'll tie that back in so you're not like, what in the world are you talking about? I would love to hear your comments down below as well, so we can start this conversation and continue it after the video. All right, so first up is going to be Coach. If you did not know, Coach sells their own vintage items, and also not even just vintage, but their own items. Anything that is a authentic Coach item, they actually will take it in, and they call it Coach Preloved, I believe, on their website. So you can go there, and they're not readily available all the time. You really have to pretty much sign up for the email list, so that way you can be notified when there's a new drop, because they actually have worked with a company to basically restore their vintage as well as their authentic newer items that are not vintage yet. And either they just restore them back to their normal condition, or they may add a little bit to them, probably to either give it a little bit of a twist or to kind of cover up things, fix things in a more unique and fun way, where maybe there was a lot more damage to it and they have to stick flowers on it because there was no way they could restore it back to kind of its original condition or something like that. So definitely check out Coach Preloved. Like I said, it's really quick. They go in and they go out. And so Coach has started doing that, which I think is really neat. with that, I will say that they don't do a great job on the photos. So the photos are not as detailed as they were for their normal items, the new stock that is available through their website. So you may have to do a little bit of Google searching just to find out the specs of it, kind of see the inside. Also do some searching on YouTube. I know there's a lot of Coach enthusiasts out there and they have a lot of videos and a large collection. So likely somebody has covered that handbag, but you, like I said, if you're a person where you just want to be fully informed and really know what you're getting into before you buy, definitely you may have to, do some searching a little bit to help fill in the gaps where those photos do not help or those photos lack thereof, I guess I should say. All right, so that's the first one up. So I have a little list here on my calendar, so that's why I'm looking down. So next one up is going to be Dagne Dover. Now, Dagne Dover is a brand, I don't even know how long it's been around, but I know that I found out about them through the Allen tote. I know that they've been pushing more like functional bags for working women is kind of more so their theme and their angle for things. And Dagne Dover also sells their own items. I think their tab is actually called Almost Vintage, which is funny that they call it Almost Vintage, because you don't think about Dagne Dover in that way because they're not a historic fashion house like Coach that's been around for decades, So I think it's neat though that they do sell their own items too. So definitely if you're looking for a refreshed and reloved Dagne Dover piece and you don't want to go elsewhere to get it and you want to make sure you get it directly from Dagne Dover, then that is an option for you as well. Next up is going to be Burberry. And while Burberry does not have like a vintage option on their website, there was an article that I read that Burberry was partnering with My Wardrobe HQ is, I believe, the name of the company. So actually, Burberry is going to be sending stock to that company who is in the rental business of clothing. Now, what I'm not sure about is whether they're also going to be renting accessories or whether it just stops at Burberry clothing, like you think about their trench coats or something like that. But Burberry's entering it kind of indirectly by partnering with another company to allow people basically to rent their items from them. Not from them, but My HQ. So I wanted to put Burberry on there in case you're a fan of Burberry and wanted to, get a chance to try out a trench coat. They are gorgeous and they're very expensive. Next up is going to be Mark Cross. So I know that Mark Cross has been around for a very long time, and I admire the history of Mark Cross. Their style aesthetic for some of their bags just doesn't completely work out for me. There are a couple that I do like, but nothing has made me like really want to jump in there and say, I have to have this bag. But Mark Cross is a very established fashion house and they have been making leather goods for a long time. Mark Cross also sells their own vintage pieces, which is really nice that they kind of do that circular fashion piece there. If you do search for Mark Cross on third-party sites, they don't hold their resale value, similar to how Burberry is, where it's a drastic difference between the current selling price and the sale price of Mark Cross. So you can get more affordable Mark Cross pieces, but a lot of times when I see a Mark Cross piece, it is a vintage item. It's not a full leather piece or something that may not be as, most of the time I don't see a full leather piece, so it's not as often that Mark Cross pops up. I feel like Mark Cross falls in that category, if you know, you know. Kind of like Gurkha, I think is how you pronounce that. The company's, this leather goods company name. And I really like their pieces too. And kind of like them, they're kind of under the radar, I think. Like I said, if you know about them, you know about them, but Mark Cross is another one. So if you're a Mark Cross fan, or if you're not, check out their website, see what you like. Also check out their vintage section too. And last up on my list is going to be Mulberry. Yes, Mulberry sells their own pre-owned items. Actually, I was just checking the website right before I started this video, and they did have like 4 pieces. So not a lot, but there's some stock out there, and definitely keep checking. So if you're a Mulberry fan, I have long wanted a more Mulberry bag, but have not taken the dive yet. So one day I hope I will. Mulberry if you want to get something pre-owned from Mulberry, that is an option too, to go through Mulberry. So really quick, my thoughts about this. As you probably have heard me say, and a little bit of a commentary here is, I think it's neat. And overall, I do think it is neat. I think it's a smart business move by companies to resell their own products. One, because they're keeping it in-house. They also are kind of controlling the quality per se, because they're selling their own items. So if you buy a vintage piece from them or a pre-loved piece from one of those companies, it's definitely 100% authentic. And I think that's a really good marketing tool and a way to kind of keep you coming back to their site and keeping control of their inventory, like I mentioned. I also find that it's interesting that you notice it with Coach, for example, you notice it with Mulberry, and you notice it with, well, Burberry indirectly. And all three of those brands are brands that have wonderful quality items, but for whatever reason, they do not sell for a higher resale price. For whatever reason, they just do not command a higher resale price. So it is a nice way to basically, for example, you could go to Etsy or eBay or somewhere else and get a vintage Coach piece for under $100. Well, on Coach's website, you will not see a vintage piece under $100 on their website. They're going for $200, $300, $400. So if you think about it that way, where if I were to try to sell my own Coach piece on my own, I can't command that same price, but going to Coach, I can ask for that price because there's no negotiations. Or same thing with Mulberry. Mulberry doesn't have a big resale price either. So I think it's a great way that these brands are kind of establishing a expectation or establishing a market. And I think eventually maybe it might catch on. Who knows? We'll have to see. But I feel like indirectly they're kind of pushing the price, a higher command price, a resale price for their items through selling them through, basically by controlling the inventory and selling them through their websites. Like I mentioned, Coach, what else did I say? Burberry, Mark Cross, none of those, for whatever reason, resale for their luxury pieces, don't resell for a lot of money, but through their websites, they can command that higher price. So I think it's a really cool way to kind of basically control that market a little bit, control the price and the perception and the brand and psychology for people kind of being willing to pay a higher price for one of their used or their pre-owned vintage goods. So let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like this idea? Would you like to see more of this? Are there other brands out there that you know about that sell pre-owned? And we'll hopefully continue to keep the conversation going down below. I thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for spending a little time of your day with me, and I will talk to you again soon.